Support WrestleTalk!
See WrestleTalk live in London by clicking the link below. Hello and welcome to the WrestleTalk Super News. I'm Ollie Davis. Press the thumbs up and leave a comment down below because I'll be replying to people from out of nowhere after this video goes live, where I'll mostly be telling people to buy a brand new WrestleTalk magazine issue 7 by clicking the eye above my head or link in the video description below. The official magazine of barbed wire baseball bat death matches, as beautifully worn here by Jimmy Havoc, dressed by Sami Callihan.
Disclaimer, magazine is purely intended for reading and not for stapling to deathmatch wrestlers. Although Jimmy Havoc will probably let you if you ask him nicely.
In today's show, we've got backstage news on plans for Drew McIntyre's mega push, details on Brock Lesnar's shocking Universal title win, and how the backstage heat on Braun Strowman might have played a part in that decision. But first, please feed the Ryback more. Ryback was all the rage back in 2012, being revamped from his Skip Sheffield Nexus persona and thrust into the WWE title picture. As is the way with new stars WWE tries to create though, he was feuding with Kalisto in the pre-show just several years later. Ryback left WWE shortly after because of creative frustrations and being a vocal proponent of a fairer pay structure backstage. A noble cause, somewhat dampened by his outlandish behavior since, including but not limited to implying female wrestling fans may have mental issues, legally changing his name to Ryback, and releasing his own Feed Me More nutrition line, which involves a commercial where he clotheslines an overweight woman so hard she becomes a bikini model.
Feed me more.
Hey, stupid! Are you sick and tired of being overweight?
Me more.
Shell Shock, Extreme Fat Burner. Works every time.
Wake up. Shell Shock, Extreme Fat Burner.
I'm so glad that exists. But one man who's standing firm by his Ryback is German fan Chase Darkside, who recently asked Ryback how you think of gay men enjoying your sight and body. To which the big guy replied, "Wank away, brother! Hashtag block for hate and no hate from the big guy." What an inspiration. Which brings me on to segue. This week I tweeted, Ryback. Hi Ryback, greetings here from London. Still miss seeing you in the ring. Would like to know if you think lariats really are a sustainable diet. I want you in New Japan. Japanese flag emoji, dinner time emoji, fire emoji. Please retweet, much love OD. Still waiting on a reply. Yeah, hope it's soon though, because I want to get started on that diet. I can't work out if it's like so the clothesline, whether that just knocks all the fat off you, or it just crushes your throat, so you can't eat any. Oh my god! A notification. Ryback's replied. You seem very special, Ollie. Do you have a GoFundMe? I will gladly chip in to help with your situation. Thank you for the support, and stay hungry, little guy. Wank away, granted. I don't have a GoFundMe account, but please buy WrestleTalk magazine issue 7. Did I mention this? Hopefully WWE's reported huge plans for Drew McIntyre fare much better than their half-hearted attempt with Ryback. McIntyre re-debuted on the main roster as part of this April's Superstar Shakeup, packaged as a tag team with Dolph Ziggler, which caused super trustworthy WrestleVotes to tweet back in May, texting with a source, heard that since his return to Monday Night Raw last month, Vince McMahon has been very high on Drew McIntyre. Triple H also heavily involved in Drew. Pairing with Dolph Ziggler is for the time being, but could turn into something big down the line. Dolph and Drew have been in the main event ever since, feuding with various combinations of the Shield and even becoming Raw Tag Team Champions. And now, following a strong main event showing on this week's Raw, where he dominated Kurt Angle, WrestleVote has quoted their original report, adding, WWE has been high on Drew McIntyre for months now. The big push is indeed starting. They have major plans for him in 2019. These big push plans for McIntyre are supported by a new report from Sports Illustrated, who have written about how the Kurt Angle match was laid out backstage. Apparently, the story of the match, where Drew dominated Kurt and made him submit in his own ankle lock, was drawn up by Angle and Vince McMahon themselves to get him over. According to the report, Angle is also a huge fan of McIntyre from their time together in TNA, where Kurt specifically requested an extra match in their feud so he could put him over on his farewell tour from the promotion. It was Angle who presented McIntyre with his and Vince's plans for Monday's match before the show, and then lived up to his promise, making Drew look incredibly strong in the main event. Sadly, this didn't do much to affect ratings, as both Raw and SmackDown's pre-tape shows from Manchester this week stayed steady at their record low levels. Raw managed 2.44 million viewers, while SmackDown drew 2.09 million. These are still amongst the lowest ratings of the year for both shows, which is even more disappointing coming off the back of the very newsworthy, but also completely insane, Crown Jewel show from Friday. Perhaps in a bid to improve Raw's dwindling viewership averages, Fightful is reporting WWE will finally stop overrunning on Monday nights. Despite having a scheduled off-air time of 11 PM in the States, Raw almost always goes over by a varying degree of minutes. It's a tactic that dates back to the Monday Night Wars with WCW Nitro, where both shows would stay on air longer to boost their overall ratings. That war ended in 2001 though, but to be fair, WWE taking just 17 years to learn something is actually relatively quick. Fightful claim Raw will now have a hard out time of 11 PM EST, as opposed to the soft end time that they've enjoyed since the 1990s from next week's episode, which means they only have 3 hours to get everyone on TV. Run, Apollo Crews! It's not safe for you here anymore! And it might not be safe for Braun Strowman either. Strowman seemed all set to become the new Universal Champion at last Friday's Crown Jewel show, going up against Brock Lesnar for Raw's top title. WWE's main event plans for the next several years had suddenly been thrown out the barbershop window a few weeks previously, when Roman Reigns announced he was suffering from leukemia and would have to vacate his Universal Championship. And with Lesnar seemingly destined for a series of big money fights in the UFC, starting in January against Daniel Cormier and John Jones, it appeared the company's future now belonged to Braun. But following a hasty babyface turn following Roman's announcement, Strowman was beaten in just 3 minutes 20 seconds at Crown Jewel, with an attack from behind by Baron Corbin and then 5 F5s from Lesnar. And it's not just in the main title picture from which Braun appears to have been demoted. His advertised TLC match against McIntyre for December, a feud that has been building for the last several weeks but was nowhere to be seen on Monday's Raw, has been replaced on commercials by Strowman versus Baron Corbin. Drew, meanwhile, is being promoted in an Intercontinental title match against Seth Rollins. Mike Johnson has reported on PW Insider Elite that this all could be because of backstage heat on Strowman in WWE. One of the things that I heard from multiple people, we're talking 4 different people, there are times where Strowman is negligent when it comes to showing up on time. He has a reputation at times for leaving a little early, and sometimes he makes mistakes in terms of etiquette in the backstage in the locker room. Sometimes, as one person put it, he's his own worst enemy and his worst advocate. They would be high on him, and just when he gets to the point where you would think the next step is putting him into the centerpiece position for the company, then something happens and he makes some sort of misstep backstage, and people within management kind of cool on him and they take take a step back. Yeah, because being an incredible near 7 foot, 400-pound genetic monster with natural charisma and great promo delivery counts for nothing if you're 5 minutes late to a show and you don't shake The Undertaker's hand. This is why you can't have new stars, WWE! In addition to the backstage heat rumors on Strowman, another reason Lesnar won the Universal title at Crown Jewel is because it appears he's actually back with the promotion until at least WrestleMania 35. That's right, after we all thought he was leaving WWE for the UFC after WrestleMania 34, and then all thought he was leaving after SummerSlam, and then after Crown Jewel, he's actually going to be around until April 2019, likely holding the top title hostage and not appearing on TV that much. This is also why you can't have new stars, WWE! Dave Meltzer is reporting over at MMA Fighting that despite seemingly set to return to the UFC in early 2019, following his re-entry into their USADA drug testing program in July, Lesnar agreed secretly to a new deal for after Crown Jewel that runs through as late as April of next year for WrestleMania. Meltzer notes Vince McMahon's decision came after Reigns' leukemia announcement and the huge injection of Saudi Arabian cash for the Crown Jewel show. While Brock's new deal with WWE allows him to take a UFC fight, Meltzer questions whether he'll use that option before April, delaying his next Octagon appearance even further. Well, that's the state of WWE, but what about the state of the larger wrestling world? You can find out by ordering the brand new issue of the WrestleTalk magazine, Did I Mention This?, which is out now. It has our annual assessment of the world's major wrestling promotions, grading them on their top stars, match quality, world title prestige, and more. There's also a huge review of All In, a look back at The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels' first ever Hell in a Cell match, and so much more. Click the WrestleTalk magazine image on screen now to order your brand new issue today. And which huge New Japan star is WWE trying to steal? Click the video in the top left to find out. I've been Ollie Davis, and that was wrestling.